With the points event decided in sprints, we're on to the race of champions and the dash for the cash. Each team's fastest driver went into time qualifying, and Jay Taylor for the Throttle Warriors qualifies in pole position ahead of Birmingham Wheels' Bradley Philpott. Teesside Tigers' Steve White qualifies on the second row with Cal Parkin from 3 legs. Austin Munday for Leicester Alley Cats is joined by Johnny Spencer from Atherton Bulls. Well, you can see the conditions have not improved greatly. Jay Taylor is bringing them round slowly out of hairpin 3, backing up the field before we go green. If you're wondering where Pontefract Punishers' Danny Harwood is, he's starting once again from the back of the grid, and he's joined there by Team Sports' Austin Davis and Daniel Gardner, who was fastest in time qualifying for Teesside Angry Birds. Austin Munday gives Steve White a love tap. We're coming under starters' orders. The revs are picking up. The grand final, the dash for the cash, is underway. And Jay Taylor's got the whole shot, or has he? Austin Munday throwing it down the inside of Steve White, and now going around the outside of Jay Taylor. He can hardly believe it. Austin Munday's bet the farm. Going for broke, and now he's going narrow into hairpin 1 to hang on. Whoa, and Jay Taylor's got a long way. High, wide and handsome. Oh, and look at the rest of the field. There's not much grip back there. So who survived hairpin 1? Bradley Philpott's come out in the lead, but here comes Steve White for Teesside Tigers. The Teesside Tigers lead at Langbar. Austin Munday's fighting back though. He's disposed of Bradley Philpott. Nearly took out Steve White. He's up the inside. Makes Steve White lift. Oh, Jay Taylor. Contact with Johnny Spencer. And he's down to about 6th, 7th, 8th place. Cutting inside Spencer, Joe Bailey. We've got spinners at the back of the field. Carl Parkin half in a spin. Simon McWilliams on the grass. Up front it's Philpott with Steve White going to second. Gives Bradley Philpott a shot. And it's looking more like Bash for the cash at the moment. Into the S's, and Munday's back to second for Leicester Rally Cats. Looking to the inside, he's going narrow. There's no grip in there and he runs out wide. And Philpott gets him on the crisscross. Jay Taylor's back in 4th and ahead of Richard Ware for Cosley Cougars. Philpott looks over his shoulder. Here comes Steve White for Teesside Tigers. Birmingham Wheels goes narrow. Steve White knows his grip out here from local knowledge, and he's driving around the outside of Brad Philpott. Now hauling it up on the brakes. Philpott goes in narrow to keep the position, but there's a crisscross on and Philpott is powerless to do anything about it. He's put himself back on the nose of Austin Munday in Leicester Alley Cats. Looking for traction out of hairpin 4 and looking for trouble over his shoulder. Johnny Spencer in 7th, Miles Reitman in 8th. Colin Peacock under pressure in 9th. That's Rob Newman. Oh, a heavy shot from Danny Harwood. Newman and Harwood up from the back of the field. Colin Peacock didn't like that, and he gives a bit back. But he's powerless to stop Danny the Chopper Harwood going through. And he's up to 8th. Rob Newman in 7th. Is Peacock going to give him another dose into hairpin 3? Whoa, I think he might have tried to. But he's run wide, and he's in danger of losing out to Daniel Gardner, who, like Harwood and Newman, has come storming up from the back of the field. So Peacock's looking to his left, trying to hold off Daniel Gardner. Over start finish, but she's got momentum and she's got the revs down to turn 1. So Taylor trying to run down Brad Philpott in Birmingham Wheels. Throttle Warriors have already won the points race. Now he's trying to win the grand final. Takes a look over his shoulder. He's beginning to drop Austin Munday. Johnny Spencer here trying to hold off Daniel Gardner. Colin Peacock in the mix. He had to lift there. And he's losing ground to Austin Davis in Team Sport. I think the rain has stopped. And the track is beginning to drive very slowly. Steve White leads from Brad Philpott. Jay Taylor putting Philpott under pressure. Austin Munday's not out of this one yet in 4th place. Jay Taylor going for second. He's done that move a few times today. It hasn't worked. And he's going to lose out to Austin Munday into South Bank Bend. So Taylor back to 4th. And a tricky man to pass. Munday's been combative, especially in the grand final. Taylor around the outside. There's still more grip on the outside of South Bank Bend. The track beginning to look dry, and we're looking back from Steve White, and look, Brad Philpott's come back alive. He's up the inside. Now can he get the traction? Yes he can, and he's run Steve White out wide just to make sure. White takes a look over his shoulder. He's conscious. It's Jay Taylor in third and closing quickly. Philpott goes in a little bit narrow. Steve White trying to slide in inside into the S's, not quite there. Will he try and shoot it up the inside into the hairpin? Well, he's forced Philpott to go narrow, and narrow into hairpin too. Is this going to work out for Steve White? Can he get the crisscross down to South Bank Bend? Here he comes. Philpott's trying to make it narrow, but Steve White is through to the lead. Teesside Tigers back in front at half distance, and Jay Taylor's closing in. Philpott coming straight back at him underneath. Got under his bumper and he's lost out to Taylor as he had to lift. So Jay Taylor through to second. Steve White leads. It's a four-way dice for the lead because Austin Mundy's still in the mix. And he's putting a move on Philpott over start-finish. Down to turn one. Here comes Jay Taylor. Whoa, he was really close there, and Mundy's looking to go through again into the S's. Side by side with Taylor. They're fighting it out, and he puts Mundy over the grass. Philpott down the inside in a hairpin one, and we're back to a dry racing line. Philpott moves through to second. Taylor down to third, and he's getting another run. Philpott struggling to get drive off hairpin two, and that's crucial because it decides your speed all the way round to hairpin three. He's looking up the inside. Is he going to dive in on the brakes? Not close enough. In fact, Austin Mundy's able to cut inside. He'll be looking for a fast line out of hairpin four, as Philpott has to turn tight to make the corner. They're all talking about cooperation and then ignoring each other as Philpott looks to the inside of Taylor in a hairpin three. Can't get it done, puts Taylor off. Now he's going to throw it up the inside of hairpin four. So Philpott wants to be in second, conscious not to let Taylor get away. But here comes Jay Taylor for the Throttle Warriors as Joe Bailey is looking inside of Austin Mundy. Side by side into turn one, and the position is Jay Taylor's. Joe Bailey trying to go past Brad Philpott. Oh, they're banging wheels in the S's. It's only one car wide, and Joe Bailey is back to fifth with Brentwood Bandits. Battle for ninth. Danny Harwood looking to the inside of Richard Ware in Cosley Cougars. Harwood goes in deep. He's very narrow in a hairpin four, trying to make the angle wider, and Richard Ware sneaks through. But look what it's done for Danielle Gardner. She could take the optimum line and goes through. Jay Taylor looking for the lead into turn one. Gets his nose in. White has to run wide. And Philpott's back on Taylor's bumper. Taylor had to think about going up the inside, as did Philpott. Austin Mundy's right there. Here comes Taylor. How many times has he sneaked it up the inside of hairpin two? And Philpott's going to take full advantage, pushing Jay Taylor through. White drops in on his bumper. So it's still a three-way dice for the lead. It's just in a different order. It's Taylor out front. We're now looking back at Austin Mundy in fourth. He's not out of this one yet. Philpott looks over his shoulder, as does White. Taylor got a car length over start finish. Philpott a bit defensive, holding off Steve White. Has he settled for second? I can't believe that he has. The cash is for victory. There's nothing for second place except bragging rights. Rob Newman's fallen back into Richard Ware and Daniel Gardner. Something's happened there. I can't see Danny Harwood. He's ahead of them. I think there might have been contact between Newman and Harwood that's dropped Newman back into Richard Ware and Daniel Gardner. Well, we're looking out the back of Steve White. He's pulled a kart length on Austin Mundy. Taylor just a kart length, half a kart length in the hairpin four ahead of Brad Philpott, as Philpott made room for himself. We're coming on to the final lap. We're about to find out whether or not this is a tactical race from Brad Philpott to get a shot at Jay Taylor on his own. Sweeping in, tried to go for the undercut, but Taylor hooked the curb into the S's. Surely it's going to be down in a hairpin one. Taylor goes narrow because he thinks it's going to happen, and it's not quite there from Philpott. He's narrow in a hairpin two. He'll be slow off this corner. Can Philpott get the crisscross? Yes, he can. Oh, and Taylor's making it very narrow for Brad Philpott in Birmingham Wheels. Steve White's on the outside. We're back to a three-way dice for the lead. And look out for Austin Mundy. Closing quickly, and Miles Reitman's got past Joe Bailey. It's a five-way dice for the lead. We're up to the final corner. Mundy's running Steve White out of it. Jay Taylor's got out the final corner. Has he got the momentum to beat Brad Philpott? Yes, he has. Jay Taylor wins the grand final for Throttle Warriors at Teesside in the opening round of the Elite Karting League.
Jay, the start was interesting.
Yes, it was wet at the beginning of the race, so I went in the first corner a bit too hard and went on the grass. Put us back to about 6th, but I managed to pull my way back through and win it.
Well, it's the crunch, isn't it, coming back through with a long race. Tell us what you can remember.
It was quite hard because all of the karts are quite similar, so number 14 was behind us, pushing us quite a bit, and he kept on passing us, holding us up. But I managed to get past him and catch the leader and pass him.
Key point was nobody had a clear lead, even yourself, so a lot of pressure, a lot of racing.
Yeah, it was hard, really hard.
And looking at the morning overall, we've chatted twice. How's it gone for you, do you think, and for the team?
Good. Us have won the points as well, so after winning that final, then it's good. Looks good for the endurance.